What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. This will just be a short one bringing you a quick update. As we all know by now, Boris Johnson plans to call for an election next week because until now the EU is expected to have given us a 3-month extension to the Article 50 process, at the request of course of our Remainer Parliament thanks to the Surrender Act. Well, the EU have stated this morning that they will delay their decision on giving an extension until after the general election vote, in what can only be seen as yet another attempt at trying to undermine the Prime Minister's strategy in passing the deal he approved with them. They must know that that will give Labour MPs the excuse they needed to claim there is no extension so they can't back a general election, meaning they will all keep their jobs while trying their best to cancel Brexit. To be honest, it was never certain that we would get an election, but the EU knew if they gave a 3-month extension today, at least a proportion of Labour MPs likely would have voted for it, as would the SNP and a few others, which would have made an election possible before Christmas. To me, this move by the EU is a clear sign the European Union are interfering in the UK's domestic politics with this calculated announcement of yet more indecision. They knew delaying the extension date until after the vote makes the chances the Prime Minister could win a vote under the Fixed Term Parliament Act nearly impossible. The EU have essentially worked either with or for the Remain parties to keep these Remoaners in Parliament. Now, the Telegraph are reporting this along with nearly every other news outlet, so let's take a quick look at what that says before I end this video. The headlines: EU fails to agree extension date as Labour in disarray over election. EU ambassadors have failed to agree a date for a Brexit extension that would allow the UK to hold a general election before it leaves the EU. It was hoped that the EU 27 ambassadors meeting this morning in Brussels would be able to agree a new date for the UK to leave the EU, after Boris Johnson was forced to request an extension under the Benn Act, otherwise known as the Surrender Act. Michel Barnier, the EU's chief Brexit negotiator, said this morning's meeting produced excellent discussions but no decision. He said an extension could not be agreed while there is ongoing debate about a general election in the UK. A source said ambassadors decided an extension was necessary and will decide on a date by written procedure Monday or Tuesday. There will be no special European Council summit. The Benn Act required Mr Johnson to name 31st of January as Britain's preferred exit date, but President Macron is understood to have pushed for a shorter time frame. The ambassadors' failure to agree a date means the UK exit date remains next Thursday, the 31st of October. Without assurances that Brexit will be delayed, it will be difficult for Mr Johnson to convince 2/3 of MPs to back Monday's motion to hold a general election on December 12th. As I said, it's going to be more than difficult, I reckon nearly impossible. Jeremy Corbyn has indicated he is not willing to make a decision on whether the Labour Party will support an election until the extension is announced, while Diane Abbott has claimed that holding an election in December would be ludicrous. The Shadow Home Secretary insisted that the party was definitely up for an election, whilst also refusing to commit to voting for one on Monday. It's the Labour Party, dither and delay is what they're about. Asked to clarify the party's position this morning, Miss Abbott told BBC Radio 4's Today programme the Labour Party is definitely up for an election, but there are two things we need to know. One is what sort of an extension the EU is going to give us, and as you say, we won't know until Monday. The December day is a ludicrous day. We have not had a general election at Christmas for over a century, and there's good reason for that, but we're up for an election. Of course you are. You're running scared of the electorate.
Can you explain to me what it looks like, what Boris Johnson has to say to convince you that no deal is off the table?
Well, it would help if he actually said it. It would help if he actually said it, and it would help if he actually committed to it. It's still a problem because what people now know is that Boris Johnson doesn't always tell the truth. But it would help if he actually said it, that we are committing to taking no deal off the table. And of course, as I said, we need to hear from Europe what sort of extension they're going to give us.
The EU extension. The second, I know there's speculation, but it's likely that Boris Johnson will announce December the 12th as the date. You know this. You're going to be discussing this. You're going to have a plan in place. But have you already decided no?
I don't know what the EU is going to decide. There's a lot of moving parts in their decision. But December the 12th, as I've said to you, there is a reason why we've not had a Christmas election for over a century. So we just have to wait and see what the EU is saying first and foremost, and we just have to wait and see whether Boris Johnson is willing to say publicly and in terms that no deal is off the table.
Diane Abbott, Shadow Home Secretary, thank you very much for talking to us this morning.
Hitting back, the Chancellor Sajid Javid accused Labour of a constant changing of the goalposts, adding the only thing that Labour has shown so far when it comes to Brexit is delay after delay after delay. And that's the end of the article there, guys. So, like I said, the EU are definitely helping the Remainers either stay in the job or just trying to undermine Boris for some reason when he's negotiating with Parliament to pass the deal that they've signed with him. It just seems counterproductive for them to make this decision. They should have just called an extension, given it a date, and then it would have been on Labour. Labour could be blamed if they try to run away from it. Labour could be blamed for dither and delay. They've tried to back up Labour in the hopes of, I don't know. I can't understand why they would do this. It doesn't actually make any sense. It seems they are trying to work to undermine the Prime Minister. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments section something different. But to me, it looks like they're trying to undermine the Prime Minister, passing his deal through Parliament for some reason. Perhaps they don't like the deal they made with him. Can't imagine why. And as usual, of course, the Labour Party are in disarray, which is Brexit altogether for them, if you ask me. When have they been cohesive on anything relating to Brexit recently? They haven't. But anyway, I'm going to end the video there, guys. Like I said, it was just a short one. I want to thank the channel's PayPal, Patreon, Subscribe Star members and Super Chat donators for their support of the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.